My friends admired me and my success. So from the outside, I seemed to be an ambitious and successful young woman, but inside, I didn't feel happy. And in fact, I had been suffering from stress and anxiety and fears for years. And my level of stress and anxiety were growing to the point that I had frequent stomach aches, and my hand would go numb and constantly shake. And I couldn't even hold a pen or a plate of food.
Welcome to episode number 54 of the 100 Successful Women, a Conversation to Inspire series. Thanks to each and every one of you who have tuned in to learn more about the success stories of these beautiful women who overcame their challenges to become who they are today. In this episode, I'm delighted to introduce to you Vivienne, a beautiful life coach from Melbourne, Australia. Vivienne has inspired and coached women from more than 100 countries and have features on SBS Radio, Australian national broadcasters, and then 3 newspaper Vietnam mainstream media for contributing to mental health and well-being advocacy and women's empowerment. Vivienne is passionate about helping women overcome their challenges, come home to themselves, and to make their inner home a place where they always feel worthy, loved, happy, and at peace. Through her authentic, heart-touching, and inspirational stories, Vivienne brings to her audience a calming, peaceful, and loving energy, and at the same time, ignite the fire within their hearts, inspiring them to take immediate action to make positive changes in their life. I have learned so much throughout the conversation with Vivienne and can't wait for you to learn from her as well. So without further ado, let's hear from our conversation coming up next. Hello, good afternoon, Vivienne. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for saying yes to be part of this 100 Successful Women, because I think it's such a great opportunities for us to learn from you, and then to learn what are you doing and to empower more women out there. I know some of your stories, but not all of them. Thank you so much for jumping on, Vivienne.
You're welcome, and thank you so much for giving me this amazing opportunity to share my stories with everyone.
Thank you. So, have you watched some of my podcasts before?
Yeah, I watched some of the episodes and they were great.
Thank you. So if you does watch the video, you might already know that the first question that I always ask the guests is that I know that you play different roles in your life. So you are a coach, you are a daughter, and different others hats that you're wearing. So despite all these roles, despite all these hats that you're wearing, who is really Vivienne at your core?
What an interesting question, and I think it's a profile question. At my core, I am a person who values love, inner peace, and happiness, and I am committed to continuous personal growth, and I am dedicated to making positive impact and helping others have better mental health and well-being.
Yeah, I love that. I really love this question. So just a little bit of the background of this story. This question is actually, I first got this question from one of the first few guests. She was one of the, she is the Paralympian. I'm not sure you did watch that episode. That's question was actually started from her. She asked about this question: despite all the roles that you are playing, who are you really at your core? Because this question is sometimes that we forgot, right? We have this identity of like a daughter, a mom, but who are you really is? So this is a great question. I love that you say that you're someone who values inner peace and lifelong learning. I think that's such a great answer. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Vivienne.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking me such a great questions. I agree with you. It's a good question because oftentimes we define ourselves with so many labels, right? Whether it is a title at work, right? Or a wife or a mother, and sometimes we lose ourselves in these labels, right? So knowing your values in life is really important, right? Because everything we do is actually driven by our values, right? Yeah, so knowing our values, who we are at our core, is really important.
Yeah, I love this question, and thank you so much for sharing that with us as well. So can you share with us a little bit about your journey? I know that you have a few titles, as in you are the mental health advocate and well-being and life coach yourself. So what got you on this journey, Vivienne?
Yeah, so I would like to share my story and what has inspired me to become a life coach and a mental health and well-being advocate. So when I was younger, I wasn't happy. I grew up in Vietnam and my family was poor. My dad passed away when I was 15 years old. So I lived with my mom and my sister. And have you ever felt distant from your family members, even though you live together with them? And I'm curious to know if anyone who is listening have ever felt this way before. Because when I was younger, my daily conversation with my mom was just around, what are we eating for dinner, right? And I didn't feel like she really understood me. And my sister and I couldn't talk to each other for more than 5 minutes without fighting. So I always felt like there was an invisible wall between me and my family that made me feel unhappy and lonely. So I decided to focus on work to find happiness. So I spent a lot of time working, doing multiple jobs at the same time, earning a lot of money and crushing goals. And my friends admired me and my success. So from the outside, I seemed to be an ambitious and successful young woman, but inside, I didn't feel happy. And in fact, I had been suffering from stress and anxiety and fears for years. And my level of stress and anxiety were growing to the point that I had frequent stomach aches, and my hand would go numb and constantly shake. And I couldn't even hold a pen or a plate of food, right? So I saw counselors, I saw doctors, I took medications, and nothing really worked. But the silver lining is my hard work finally paid off when I became one of the youngest who was awarded an Australia Awards scholarship to do my master's degree in social work. And I was over the moon about the next chapter of my life. Oh, I'm gonna be so happy in Australia, right? And I'm gonna have a great life in Australia. However, when I first arrived in Australia, it wasn't like what I expected. I felt unhappy and lonely again because I didn't have my family and friends here. And I didn't feel like I belonged to this country. I couldn't fit in, and everything was so different. And then I got this idea. If I have a boyfriend, I'll be happy. And luckily, I met Anthony, who made me laugh all the time. We fell in love and we got married. And it was the first time in my life that I had felt deeply loved and connected. Unfortunately, not long after we married, I had to say goodbye to my husband and return to Vietnam for 2 years. Without my husband, I struggled to find happiness in life. And once again, I had to face the invisible wall between me and my family. So I felt depressed. and the vibrant world around me had suddenly faded to shades of gray, and sadness weighed on me like a heavy rock on my chest. And I asked myself, why can't I be happy? Why am I so unlovable? What do I need to do to find happiness? And then I found the answer. A self-discovery journey. One day, I heard about Tony Robbins and his events, so I got curious. I decided to attend one of his events, and little did I know, it completely transformed my life. And I became so passionate about personal development, and I learned from so many life coaches and NLP trainers, and they showed me my hidden limiting beliefs and fears and self-doubts and my lack of self-worth and lack of self-love. And I'm so grateful to say that I have transformed into a person who is much more confident, positive, happy, and at peace than ever before. And more importantly, I've broken through that invisible wall between me and my family. I now can express my love to them. And from being unable to talk to my family, I now have a very close relationship with them. Mm-hmm. And I told my mom something that I had never told her before. I love you, Mom. Aww. She was very happy to hear that. And my sister and I now can have calming and loving conversations with each other. And recently, I just helped my sister to overcome her postpartum anxiety. Yeah, so it was great. So my breakthroughs and transformation inspired me to become a life coach and mental health and well-being advocate, so that I can help other women out there who are struggling with stress, anxiety, and unhappiness to reclaim their self-worth, inner peace, and happiness through my coaching programs, workshops, and other speaking events. So that is my journey and how I became a life coach and mental health and well-being advocate.
Oh, that's such a beautiful sharing there, Van. It's nearly got me into tears listening to what you just shared. And
thank you, Vivienne.
I was like totally resonate with what you were saying, because especially we come from the same background, even though from different countries. I know that saying I love you to children is something that our parents never say to us. And it's such a big thing. Asian families, Asian parents never say I love you. That's such a big title, because literally that's part of my stand-up comedy as well, because it's something that so strange about those three words, but it is so powerful. And I love that you had the breakthrough and being able to close the gaps of those invisible wall that you just said, and allow yourself to have a better relationship with your parent, with your mom, and also your sisters. I love that. And it's going to help a lot of women out there as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I agree with you that in Asian countries, right, people are not used to express their love through words, right? Mainly through actions, by cooking us delicious meals, right? But I don't really remember any time when my parents told me that they love me. Maybe when I was little, but I just can't remember it. And giving compliments to other people is something very rare in Asian countries, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So at the beginning of my self-discovery journey, I just wanted to improve my relationship with myself. But then I didn't expect that it really helped me to heal my relationship with my family members too. Yeah, so I now feel so much more confident and comfortable to express my love to my family members, not only through actions, but also through words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I could say I love you to my mom, right? But I couldn't say that to my dad because he already passed away. I could only say that in front of his photos, right? So if anyone who is listening to this, it's never too late to express your love to your loved ones. And actually, I encourage you to do so before it's too late, right? And we never know what's going to happen tomorrow. And when our parents, you know, when they are still here with us, we should really take this opportunity to show them how much we love them and really put our ego aside, right? And just open our heart to give and receive love.
That's so powerful. That's so true. So for those of you listening out there, make sure you say those 3 words whenever you got the chance, and don't wait until it is too late. Yeah, that's such a beautiful sharing that you just shared with us there, Van. And I think you have such a great and big breakthrough. And I'm glad that you are on this journey to not only empowering yourself, but also empower other women out there as well. So you were sharing that throughout this journey, you have this breakthrough. Can you share with us? I know that you mentioned about NLP and other coaching tools. So what are the key insights or lessons that you learned along the way that help you maybe to find that inner peace, which you mentioned earlier in the conversation?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I would love to share with you and everyone the key lessons that I've learned on my healing journey, on my self-discovery journey. And the number one lesson that I would like to share is to come home to myself. Yeah. So on my journey, I realized that I wasn't at home with myself. Actually, I lived in other people's homes the whole time. What do I mean by that? I always depended on someone else or something else to bring me happiness, such as my husband, my work, my achievements. And that is borrowed happiness. Anything borrowed is not ours forever. When they walk away, we lose all our happiness. So true happiness starts from within. So come home to yourself and fill that inner home with love and happiness. And I also realized that I had this negative pattern of constantly looking for external validation. Right? So I always needed someone else to give me the validation, the compliments, right? To make me feel like I was good enough. And that was very unhealthy. And I worried too much about what other people might think about me. And I didn't want to let people down, so I struggled to say no. So I ended up feeling so stressed, overwhelmed, and exhausted because I sacrificed my personal needs to fulfill other people's needs. Right? So I would work to the point that I felt exhausted and burnt out just to prove to other people that I was good enough and that I was worthy of love. Right? So that was a very unhealthy pattern that I realized on my self-discovery journey, right? Because, when you constantly look for the external validation, you lose all your power. Because sometimes what you may think that, how can people not see my worth, right? Why do they not acknowledge my efforts, right? And all the work that I put in. But the person that I should have asked these questions was the one in the mirror, was myself, right? So it was very unhealthy way to live, and thanks to my self-discovery journey, I realized these very unhealthy patterns of thoughts and limiting beliefs, so that I could break through and become a better version of myself. So I didn't realize at the time that I wasn't at home with myself. I was actually building my home within other people. And then when they walked away, I lost my sense of worthiness, and I lost my happiness or my love. Yeah. So the number one lesson here is to come home to myself and to fill my inner home with love and happiness, and to make it a place where I always feel loved, worthy, happy, and at peace. Yeah.
I love that. I really love that, your metaphor of saying that come home to yourself. That's such a beautiful saying, and I love that you have that at the background as well. Come home to yourself. And so
Yes.
true. When we seeking validation from others, we always give out the power to someone else, whether we are happy or whether we are upset. It's all controlled by others. But in actual fact, there is no way for us to control what others are doing. The only thing that we can control is within ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. So come home to yourself is something that I'm so passionate about. I am so passionate about helping other women to come home to themselves, so that they can have more love, peace, and happiness in their lives. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so important. And it's something that I think it's such an important message for other women out there, especially. And it's the main things towards happiness. And I know that one of the, I forgot who said this, but someone did say that the biggest freedom that you can have is to not worrying about what others are thinking. Because once you are just know that whether what are the decisions that you're making, whether you are to be happy, whether you are to be angry, it's not from others but from you. So you can feel that sense of freedom within yourself, and that's what you mentioned, the inner peace that you can get.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely
I
true.
really love that. Thank you so much again for sharing your wisdom. I really love that, all this wisdom and all these golden nuggets that you are sharing. So I know that you also inspired and coaches women for more than like 10 countries. So for different countries that you have been working, because obviously they might be from a different background or maybe different languages. So can you see the patterns or the common struggles that these women are having?
Yeah. So I have coached women from more than 10 different countries, and they have very similar struggles and desires. So most of my clients are very successful women. So from the outside, they seem very confident, very calm, very happy, but nobody knows that inside they actually struggling with stress, anxiety, and they don't feel happy, and they have a lot of fears and self-doubts. Yeah, especially high achievers, they are very critical to themselves. They set extremely high standard, and they feel intense pressure to meet these standards. And when they can't, they become very critical to themselves. They beat themselves up over tiny mistake that they make. Although they are very successful in their career, but they are not happy in their life. Yeah. And they also struggle with people pleasing. Yeah. So they care a lot about what other people think about them. So they would work really hard just to prove to others that they are good enough. So they often experience exhaustion and burnout. And they struggle to rest and relax. They can't slow down, take time off, and they feel very guilty and anxious when they are not productive. So that is something that I see a lot of my clients have in common. Yeah. And they all want to have a life of happiness, right? Because it doesn't matter how much money you have, how much success you have, but if you are not happy, then what's the point?
That's right.
I totally get it because I've been there. I was struggling with prolonged stress and anxiety, and I had to question myself, what am I truly after in life? Success without happiness and fulfillment is the ultimate failure. So that question led me to my self-discovery journey. And now I am helping other women who have very similar problems that I used to have to get the same results that I got. The experience and the knowledge and skill, now I can help them to save so much time, and they don't have to go through all the pains like I did before, right? So they can get there faster.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so true. People always say we are always our first clients because you've been through that yourself, and then being successful and looking for a way out to search for happiness, and then the GPS, the compass to get there, and you are able to guide them in a shorter ways instead of going through all the pain for many years. You can look for van to find a shortcut to go to that happiness that you always wanted. Yeah, so I know that you mentioned about these women is not happy, they're being stuck or probably anxious as well. You did mention about coming home to yourself. So if you would to give them some tips, what will be the first practical first step that they can do, probably starting today right away?
I have a lot of tips that I can share with everyone. So earlier I shared the importance of coming home to yourself, right? But the thing is, a lot of people, although they want to come home to themselves, but they can't because they know that anytime when they go back inside, they are going to be destroyed. Because their inner home is filled with stress, anxiety, shame, guilt, hurt, right? So they can't really come back to their home inside. So what we need to do is to build a solid foundation for our home. And what is a solid foundation? Without a solid foundation, our home will collapse soon, right? Without a solid foundation, for example, you want to build like 2 stories or 3 or 4, 5 stories, and you want to build a building. And when there's a storm, the whole house, the whole building will collapse, right? So our foundation is our belief system, our mindset. If you don't believe that you are worthy of love and happiness, you won't see love and happiness, right? So it is really important to, remove our limiting beliefs and build empowering beliefs. So before, I had a lot of negative thoughts and limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
I believed that I wasn't good enough. I believed in the past that I wasn't beautiful, I wasn't interesting, so that's why people didn't love me. So the inner word determines the outer word. So if your inner word is full of stress, anxiety, anger, resentment, then your outer world is not going to be a happy place. It's not going to be a peaceful place, right? So come home to yourself and then build a solid foundation for your own home, right? So choose your thoughts wisely. If you want more love, choose loving thoughts. If you want more happiness, choose happy thoughts. If you want more peace, choose peaceful thoughts. So this is one practical tip that everybody can start with. Every day, feed your mind with positive thoughts. This is what I do first thing in the morning every day. Instead of grabbing my phone, checking the news, or reading my emails, I would listen to positive affirmations or a guided meditation or anything inspirational to feed my mind with positive thoughts and to start my day with positive energy and to fill my inner home with positivity, love, peace, and happiness.
Wow, amazing. That's such a great insight that you just shared. But then when you were sharing with me about building the house step by step, level by level, and the wind blow, all I have in my mind was a fairy tales of the 3 little piggies building their homes. So if you're building the home with the haze, which is probably those limiting belief that doesn't serve you, when the wind blow or the big wolf that come to you and blow that house, the house will be blown away, right? But if you're building your house with a solid rock, a solid brick, your house will be able to allow you to come home to yourself. I love that. Such a beautiful.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I love that sharing, and I really love your concept of coming home to yourself and building that house that allow you to be strong enough whereby you don't need validation from others. Wow, that's amazing. I really love your sharing, Van. That's so many golden nuggets from what you just shared. So
thank you.
For people who wanted to also come home to themselves, where can they find you online, Van?
Thank you. Yeah. I would love to help everyone who would like to learn how to come home to yourself. So you can contact me on my social media. I am on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So the easiest way for you to find my social media handles is through my website. My website is vanancoaching.com. So vanancoaching.com, vanancoaching.com, and then you can see the information about my coaching programs and all my social media handles where I share a lot of positive posts and videos every day. Yeah.
So those of you who haven't connected with Van, make sure you connect with her on social medias because she's been doing a lot of beautiful sharing through reels and through videos. That's such empowering sharing that she's been doing every single day. So make sure you follow Van on her social media. So I'm very well aware of the time, Van. One last piece of advice for other women out there.
One last piece of advice. Yeah. Remember that you matter and your mental health and well-being matters. So prioritize yourself and give yourself permission to have a life of love, peace, and happiness, and invest in yourself, because you when you invest in yourself, you will always have profit, right? You never lose, because you are the best asset, right? So oftentimes we yearn for connection with others, but we are the most disconnected from ourselves. And oftentimes we take good care of our relationships with others, but we forget the relationship with ourselves. So, go back inside and take good care of yourself, take good care of your inner home, and then you can, have a life full of love and happiness. You deserve it.
Wow, love that. So you matters. For those of you who are listening, you matters, and make sure love yourself more. And I think it all started from a decision. If you decide today to reach out to Vivienne and find out more about her Come Home to Yourself, make sure you reach out to her. And I'm going to include the social medias for Vivienne as well in the description, and also the website. Make sure you reach out to her. So before we wrap up everything, Vivienne, is there anything that you would like me to ask that I haven't asked yet?
Thank you, Vivienne. You have asked me excellent questions, and I just wish everyone a good day, and thank you so much for listening to me and Vivienne, and I would love to support you on your self-discovery, self-healing, and development journey, starting with coming home to yourself. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time with us, sharing with us so many golden nuggets, so many great wisdom. And hopefully next time we will get Vivienne up here to share more about her journey and more of her tips as well. Thank you so much, Vivienne, and I'll see you next time.